So, welcome to this review of Oxfordshire's football over the weekend of the 15th and 16th of November with Colin Ryde and Patrick Lock. Now, Patrick Lock, last weekend you went to Spain to watch football. As a result, Oxford City won. And there were rumours going round down at Oxford City that your mates were going to send you away again in their quest for another 3 points and a win for All City. So I suppose we should really ask you, where did you watch football this weekend and what was the result, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I wish they did send me off. To be honest, it was a lovely bit of winter sun in Valencia, 20 degrees. One last bit of action for my shorts before they got packed away for the winter. But Valencia was lovely, I have to say, and however much I do love my Oxford City, yeah, it was nice to have a change of scenery and the Mestalla Stadium, which is potentially disappearing soon. So yeah, it was nice to go and tick that off as part of my Spanish grounds.
I've got to pick you up on this because you write for the National Non-League newspaper. It wasn't much fun down at City for City fans, and to prove a point, the game was that poor that you only gave it 2 stars, and you gave man of the match to a Peterborough sports player. So call yourself a City fan, Patrick.
Well, I do have to try and put on a bit of a neutral head when I do the non-league paper. Bit of a shorter report this week as well, which is always a little bit of a problem because trying to summarise a game in 150 words is sometimes difficult. I mean, thankfully it wasn't 150 words about Didcot's game, which we'll hear about in a minute, which had 8 goals in it, which may have been a bit of a good challenge to summarise in 150 words.
You must talk about what happened to how did the game go?
It's always one of those funny ones, isn't it? That it's one of those where you win and you say, oh, let's have a good cup run, and you lose and it's saying, well, let's concentrate on the league. And City will probably be wondering how they're not in the hat for the next round, really. Had probably had the much better of the game. They created 5 or 6 really good clear-cut chances, but somehow couldn't really find a way to get the ball in the net. As football goes, Peterborough Sports had 3 probably good chances and scored 2 of them. But yeah, it was a 35-yard screamer that put Peterborough ahead midway through the first half. City huffed and puffed, had a couple of one-on-ones which were well saved. And probably if I was slightly too critical, they were probably shot too close to the goalkeeper. City did eventually get the ball in the net through Isaac Westendorf on 85 minutes, made it 1-1. And then had a golden opportunity and you thought, oh, brilliant, a penalty kick, barely 2 minutes after the first goal. Oh, we finally found a way to get the ball in the net, so we'll go through here. That's if Josh Ashby could get the ball on target. Unfortunately, he missed it, and it was, it was one of those where they almost went straight up the other end and scored. So it went from nearly, oh, we'll be through to the next round to, oh, we're out again. So,
right.
Yeah, it was... Oh, yeah, it's one of those games really where you just couldn't get the ball in the net.
No, and we've heard that. We hear from Josh Parker in a minute, which is what he says. And but I tell you what, you must have been really, really, really happy when Josh Ashby got the penalty and he stepped up, because you put your mortgage on it that he'd actually stick the ball in the back of the net. He's Mr. Reliable in that sense, isn't he, from any dead ball situation?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, in the last couple of years, Oxford City have been absolutely terrible at penalties, really. I think we worked out last year, we scored about 1 or 2 in about 10 or something. At one point, it's just used to be so reliable from the spot as well. I mean, we've in the past had like Kabi Shimanga. I mean, he didn't miss. Matt Patterson, he didn't miss. Joe Chifano in recent times, he didn't miss. And then Josh Parker, when he first came to City, didn't miss. Just don't seem to be very good from 12 yards at the moment. And Josh Ashby, who's normally Mr. Reliable from a set piece in or out the box, really. And I think potentially just saw the keeper going the way he wanted to go a bit too early and tried to find the corner a bit too much, and unfortunately overcompensated, went the other side of over the post. Maybe with his recent record, maybe a shot just outside the box maybe a bit better for Josh.
Yeah, probably right. I suppose it's the age-old cliche that when you're down the bottom, you lucks out. And say I would normally put my money on Josh Ashby putting the ball in the back of the net. Here is Josh Parker talking to the Oxford City media team after that defeat in the FA Trophy.
Josh, 2-1 defeat to Peterborough. It's a tough one to take, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very tough to take, especially because of the performance, the chances we had. Myself in the first half, Alfie, Chaz had one cleared off the line. You take those chances and the game's dead, because they really had nothing apart from the 2 chances that we kind of gifted them. It's hard to take, and I don't think the boys realised the opportunity that was there, like the gold mine at the end, which is playing at Wembley. Not a lot of people get to do it.
We probably could have won on another day. We could have won 6-0, really. It's something that we talk about a lot. We deserve to win. We deserve the 3 points, but when you come down and you watch games like that, it just shows that we have some real quality in the side.
I think that's a common theme right now. At some point, it's got to click, because it's okay, keep saying we played so well, but it's a results business. And although it's nice to play in and nice for the boys who want to play football, we play total football, probably the best football in the league when we actually do play. At the end of the day, it comes down to results.
Yeah, and we're not getting the rub of the green, and it's one of those days where we just struggle to get it in the net, and we practice so much. What really is the issue, if you could put your finger on it?
I think we're confident in all areas of the pitch, but we need to be cutthroat. Like, there's some games where we take our chances, other games we don't. I think we have to have that kind of cutthroat mentality, and that kind of knowing that when we get in the area, we are going to score, that belief that we're going to score.
Yeah, and as a senior player, you're a voice in the changing room, and we went in 1-0 down. What was the atmosphere like? What was said? Not to be anything specific.
Yeah. No, I just said at half time, nothing changes. Like, because doing everything right, apart from the goal, which you can always trace it back to a mistake, but he scored an unbelievable goal. You take that, but we had 55 minutes to change that, and we didn't. Obviously, grab the equaliser at the end, but we don't address the cross, which is a common theme, stopping crosses, and we end up losing the game. So it's one of them ones where we now look forward to the league. We now pick up our league form and hopefully continue that, but this is gone now.
Yeah, and just on the league, we go to South Shields on Tuesday, another Tuesday night up north. It's a long journey, but how do we pick the boys up from this one? Because it is a tough one.
You know the thing, I said this to the boys and to Ross, it's hard to be down, because when you play so good, it's hard to say anything. It's just a case of, take your chances. Everything else was perfect. It's a perfect performance. Great rotations, having the ball, creating chances. It's just taking the chances. So it's hard to go in and go, Obviously, you lose the game. But it's hard to be down. I don't think the boys are down. I just think they are a bit annoyed at the fact that we should be going through and we're not.
Okay, so next up then, Cornish club Mousehold made the 286-mile trip up to Didcot Saturday. But they were in the news during the week because the Prince William, future King of England, was down there last Thursday at Mousehold, and apparently he helped them fundraise to get a new access road to their ground, because the other one was full of potholes. I mean, do you think if we have a bit of a word with him about local clubs, because at North Leigh, if it's still got their sort of little track down to their ground, they could do with a few potholes being levelled by the future King of England, couldn't they, Patrick?
Well, I don't want to be a council basher, but it could be around the entire county rather than just football grounds around the county, yes. But, I mean, yeah, there's plenty of football club, isn't there? Not just in Oxfordshire, who could do with better access roads, isn't there? A few times I've driven my car into football grounds and you fear for your tyres or something. But,
you certainly do, yeah. All right, so Mousehold hobnob with royalty in the week, then entertained Oxfordshire locals, right royal 8-goal ding-dong down at Didcot on Saturday, Patrick. So that was a fantastic game, 8 goals. I think a sending off, which is Didcot sending off. They were down to 10 men. A late equalising goal. Wow. And additional 7 minutes of added time too. What value for money, mate?
Oh, I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? And we talk about City not being able to get the ball in the net, and well, you couldn't stop getting the ball in the net down at Didcot, could you, on Saturday? And it was a really entertaining game as well. Neither team were more than a goal away from each other at either point. So Didcot led through Cam Mills, but Mousehold equalised quickly, made it 1-1. Probably get a bit tired of me saying what order the goals are here, but Mousehold took the lead, Didcot equalised, Mousehold took the lead again, Didcot levelled, and I mean, it was 3-3 after 49 minutes. So, I mean, it's ridiculous value for money, and probably at that point you're thinking it could be 5-5, 6-6, but Mousehold took the lead on 56 minutes, and then there was a really poor run of half an hour without a goal, Colin, which
oh dear me, yeah, I mean, seriously,
must have really displeased the crowd. But Cian Larkin scored with 15 minutes to play to make it 4-4. Yeah, really entertaining game down at Didcot. I presume when the lino put the referee put 7 minutes of added time up. Well, you think that both sets of fans probably thought that they may go on nick it, but yeah, a really entertaining game, and
very good value for money.
Value for money, wasn't it?
It certainly was. Okay, well, we can hear from Jamie Heapy now. Now, listen out to the end of this interview too. It's worth having a listen there, because you'll hear them say, "Oh dear, the ground staff have turned the lights out." Now, Patrick and I have been to lots of non-league grounds. We follow non-league football up and down the country, and we tend to stay in there to do reports and things. And the lights get turned out, and then you've got to find your way back to the car park. So let's hope Jamie Heapy and Daz King did find the way back.
Of interviews of Mark Jones back in the day of Oxford City where I can probably find several bloopers on my phone videos where the floodlight's been turned out and it's either me or Mark Jones swearing about it. But it's a problem with this time of year at football, unfortunately.
It is indeed. So let's hear from Jamie Heapy now, talking to Daz King after that fantastic 8-goal thriller down to Luke Meadow last Saturday.
I thought we deserved the point.
Yeah.
Even after going down to 10 men for last half hour,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. But no, listen, we scored a good goal, went 1-0 up, and then they got some good players and they moved the ball well, and we weren't quite close enough in the first half, I didn't think. They got some clever players, cute players, and they took some good goals through little passes, running out to win or whatever. But no, we had to look. I think what score after 3-2, wasn't it? Yeah. So to come back, get that goal before the half time was important. But then they still had a chance, didn't they, to go 4?
Yeah.
But to get them in, have a chat, set them down a bit, and then to score straight after half time, I thought was good.
Yeah.
It gives us a little bit more impetus, a bit more. But then OJ gets sent off, and
A great response.
But
I say we
stepped
were
on.
knocking on the door.
Yeah, we stepped on. We had a chat about what to do, and we just be brave, keep it the same, and then press high.
Yeah.
Just go for it. I'd rather have a go and lose than not have a go and get beat. Do you know what I mean? And think, what if? We should have done that. We had a chat on the sideline. So let's just keep going. Let's keep going. Yeah. Put JP up. Hard for Jim, and we basically played 4-2-3, didn't we? And Jim and Felix had to cover so much ground, but you just got to show what you can do when even with a man less.
Yeah, like you just said, coming off.
Yeah.
Anyone coming into the ground wouldn't have realised.
No, they wouldn't have. They wouldn't have. But it's good because we got the crowd up and we were on top then, weren't we? We were on top and the crowd were with us and atmosphere was good, few in, and then it's just a great advertisement for Southern League football.
Yeah, I've put that at the end,
because they're a good side.
Yeah.
They're a good side.
I say the pitch would have been good for them. That bit of moisture.
Yeah,
on the pitch
played brilliantly.
Yeah, and it's in good nick after the game.
Yeah, we just had to put balls in good areas and give the boys. I mean, from set pieces, we looked dangerous. 4 headers with it.
Yeah.
Millsy, Kian, Adam, Felix. Yeah. I'm proud of them because that was a big shift. Second half, especially. We needed a response at half time, but we got one. But then, like I said, to get it down to 10 was... And it could have gone either way, really. We could have had a penalty. I
thought we should have had...
Yeah.
The first half one, and they've broken.
I thought the one in the first half, Kian's gone through. I don't understand why he'd go down, because he's got free shot on goal. So he's obviously been caught, and it looked more of a penalty than Jim's, but then Jim's probably a penalty as well.
Yeah. I think there were only one person didn't think it were a penalty.
Oh, no,
and they've broken and scored.
Yeah, I know. I know. That was
Double
a sucker
kicking
punch.
the nads.
But they were clever with that, because we had the ball and we were attacking, but then they got their players are cheating a little bit and getting the wrong side of running off the back of our players, and then they were getting in on the counter, and they caused us problems. They got pace and they got quality as well, and then so I think probably 4-4 was probably a fair result in the end, but we definitely deserved something out of the game.
Yeah,
definitely. If we wouldn't have got anything out of the game, we had a bit of travesty.
Yeah.
We've had a few of them.
And I say we took his chances to that.
Yeah.
I mean, everything we hit, they were putting a lot of blocks in, weren't they? They were not scuffed efforts.
No. We asked questions. Obviously, they were worried about us from set pieces because they brought everyone back. So it gives us an opportunity then to put the ball in a good area and get the big boys to go and attack it. And they did. And when we do that, we're a massive threat from set plays. So
I fancied Lou the last one.
Yeah, it was close, wasn't it?
Yeah, very
Towards the
close,
end.
Yeah,
but
I thought that was.
No, mate, big shift.
Yeah.
Really pleased to get a point. But we've got a few wounded in there and a few. We're getting darkness now.
Yeah,
the darkness.
left.
Right. Yeah, all good. Great support. Great
yeah.
support.
Brilliant.
Great
Brilliant
support.
tonight.
Yeah.
So there we are. Thanks to Didcot Town for that post-match interview with Jamie Heapy. Now, Patrick, you legged it to Spain last weekend to search for a bit of sun. And be honest, when you woke up on Saturday morning, you saw the state of Oxfordshire's weather. Did you honestly think you're going to be so many games that were actually on in the end?
Well, it wasn't even Saturday. It was Friday afternoon when I decided I wasn't going to leave my flat all day because of the weather, and thinking it's not stopped raining for about 12 hours. There can't be many games on at all this weekend. But yeah, I was thinking this would be a really quick podcast this week. But there's been quite a lot of games, hasn't there? So
there has.
More to summarise than expected.
We should give a really big shout out to the ground staff, especially at Banbury United, because I've been there before when I've watched the water spread out from around the players' tunnel to the centre circle, and flood the pitch. We've also seen photographs last season of someone on a windsurfing around the ground, in the middle of the water there. So they got their game on, Patrick, and it was a fantastic game there up with with, again, 5 goals, I think, and a last-minute winning goal from Banbury United, whose form had dropped off recently when they got knocked out the FA Cup. But they've come back and then some with 2 wins back-to-back, I think, Patrick.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And yeah, like you say, there's a picture almost every year, isn't there, of Banbury's ground being completely submerged by the river. So yeah, I imagine there was a few nervous heads at Banbury on Friday and Saturday morning, having seen that forecast, wondering if it would be on. But yeah, great props to them for getting that game on. And like you say, the Banbury crowd had another really good game to watch on Saturday. Obviously, they won last week after their poor run of form. Obviously, that was a good win for them, and we're looking to keep it going this weekend. And yeah, they beat Corn 3-2, and as you say, it was literally last gasp. Jonathan Lawson slotting in deep into added time, and it was a remarkable start as well because Corn took the lead after just 1 minute, so a nightmare start for them there. But Banbury didn't wait long to get the scores level. It was 1-1 after just 12 minutes, and then they took the lead just on the half hour, so they turned it round well to lead at. I was about to say lead at half time, but my notes say otherwise. It was 2-2 after 34 minutes. So half an hour in and 4 goals. It was looking like it may have gone the same way as Didcot Town's game. But yeah, the game settled down after that, and looking like it was going to be a 2-2 draw. But it was, yeah, as I say, deep into that stoppage time when that winning goal finally came.
Okay, so now we can hear from Puritans Radio's Dave England talking to Kelvin Langmead after this game, and it's a very, very interesting interview as well. So bear with it through to the end, because it's Kelvin Langmead, just to let you know, previously played in defence for Banbury United. This is his first season in the dugout as a manager, and so he talks very honestly about how he goes about his business behind the scenes. And you can hear an awful lot going on as well. We forget these are part-time players, but they still go about things in a very professional way.
Calvin, your reaction to that game, you were clearly disappointed when I spoke to you on Monday night. What's your feelings at this moment in time?
Hugely delighted for the group. I stand here when we get beat and talk about it being a results business, and it is, and that's a really good one today, a really good one. But I said to the boys in there, and I've said to a few people this week, we got to do it week in, week out. It can't be every 3, 4, 5 games. I know what this group is capable of, and that's why I was so frustrated on Monday night, because I mean, first half here today was probably split between the Bishops' performance and the St Ives. We did so well. We created loads of chances, took our goals really well, but gave them goals. You know, second half was hard work for them, really hard work. There's a lot of getting back into shape, shuffling across the pitch, moving up and down. But we are lethal on the counter-attack when we do it right, and we did today. And you know, I'm really pleased for John. He's had to be a little bit patient. Look, he's a young boy who's learning his trade. You know, and there's a lot young players don't understand about the off-ball stuff, so he's had to be patient. But he is here for those moments, and it was a big moment for him. And I'm delighted for him. I'm delighted for everyone, really, because I understand it's been a difficult month, maybe 3 or 4 weeks for everybody involved with the football club with the results. You know, I've always lived my life as you win on a Saturday, life is good. You lose on a Saturday, life is bad. So, you know, that's how it is. You know, it's not for everyone like that, but it certainly is for me. So right now, I'm delighted with the result. There's bits in it, of course, we need to be better, but there was more buy-in, there was more understanding. We went through loads of stuff on Thursday at training in terms of what we are and how we get results and what we need to be, and we have to accept certain things. You know, and I talked the other night about things changing. Things are going to change. The mentality has to change. The way I'm being is changing a little bit. You know, there's lots that need tweaking, and this is all part of my learning and part of my journey as a young manager. The things that I thought I was getting right, maybe I wasn't. You know, but right now I'm just delighted for the boys because they put a real shift in today.
Didn't start too well, though, did it? 50 seconds into the game, you're a goal down.
I mean, I can smile now. I certainly wasn't at the time. And I'm sure, when we break it down, and we are, you know, analysis now isn't quite just, oh, how can we be better? It's showing lads that this isn't good enough. That will be a moment that none of them will like to watch, as will probably their second goal. But they need to see it. They need to see, you know, the mistakes that they're making and watching themselves play is one of the best tools for a young footballer or any footballer really to understand where they need to get better. So yeah, it was a horrible start, but the reaction, I think that's probably the first time this season, if I'm right, that we've gone a goal down and found ourselves in the lead. So the reaction to it was fantastic. I was really disappointed to go in at 2-2, and then I said to my half-time, here's a test, here's another test. We're being tested at the moment. Here's another one. What have we got? What are we made of? I spoke before the game about, chest out, shoulders back. No one's going to help us. We've got to go and get after this. We've got to take what comes, however the game goes. We've got to keep fighting, and that's all of us. And that was on show today, so I'm delighted with that.
And how important is it for you to have that strength in depth? Because clearly today your substitutes bench has come into play with Luke Stokoe coming on and Jonathan Lawson getting the winner.
Well, I've said for a while how strong I feel the squad is, and there were times early on in the season where the bench was full of kids, and now we've got good players who in their own right deserve to probably play. So that's again part of the competition side of things. But I'm not going to get carried away. The boys won't get carried away. There was an element of a little bit of that after Bishops, and that showed in the St Ives thing. Now we have to back it up. We have to back it up on Tuesday with another strong performance, doing all the right things, and it's going to be hard work. It's going to be hard work. The best things are achieved with hard work, though, and I'm delighted for them because they got that off the back of the hard work today. But for now, it's a great result.
You said to me on Monday evening, off the back of the Bishops game, you felt there might be something there that wasn't quite right. You sensed it.
Yeah.
You said one or two people went off script as well, which you weren't very pleased about. What had been the message to them in the build-up to this game?
Go back to the script.
Yeah.
Essentially, no, but all jokes aside, we showed them loads of stuff. We did comparisons from Bishops to St Ives in analysis on Thursday. Showed them why we'd say and do what we do, showing the best version of us and the worst version of us, and it was clear as day. I think again that's why it's a fantastic tool to show these players why we're saying what we're saying. We back that up, and I know I do say the only stat that matters is the result, and it absolutely does. But we've got Chris who does all the VO for us and clips things and looks at all the different types of stats that are out there, and actually our best, when we are at our best, is when we sit and we protect and then we counter-attack, and that's worked for us over the 2 out of the last 3 games when we stuck to it, and we went off that a little bit. You've got to keep your shape. Don't get beat is the message. We lost 2 out of 8. 1, 2 out of 8 and lost 6. Your Bury Towns, your St Ives, you've got to find a way to draw those games. If you can't win, you don't get beat. So the mentality for me, and this came a little bit from Bishops, which is why I was so disappointed at St Ives, is that's the message. Don't get beat. Don't get beat. If you can't win, do not get beat. And you have to do the hard, ugly yards, and there's a lot of running without the ball and keeping your shape and keeping your structure, and it's hard. And training on Thursday, they won't have enjoyed it. They didn't see much of the ball. There was a lot of stuff without the ball, but it's to get those results, and the stats back it up. Our performances when we win games, a lot of our goals come from the same thing, and we have to not be prepared to step away from that. That has to be how we set up, and it was today. And yeah, look, it worked. Maybe I'd be stood here if it was 2-2 saying slightly different, but we know we are capable. We have pace in good areas, we have good finishes of the ball, and we got our rewards today.
For you stood there on the touchline, I've asked you this many times before, the influence you can have as a player is not probably quite the same as you can have as a manager. Excellent game of football to watch. But a game like that, what sort of emotions does it put you through?
All of them. Obviously anger and frustrated with the way we started. Then you work hard and you get yourselves back in the game. You then get yourselves in front. So there's just joy and the elation of that. We don't clear our lines properly, and all of a sudden it's 2-2. And naturally, when you're on a run of not winning very many games, it becomes a bit edgy. It becomes edgy for the players, ourselves, the fans, everyone really, because you know what's at stake, and you want to desperately put the end to that and stop the rot. And even at 2-2 with 5 minutes to go, there was moments. It's just relax. We don't have to go chasing this game. At that point, if I'm being completely honest, I'd have took a 2-2 just to get a point on the board, to stop the rot and just go, look, that's another point to build off. But so to get all 3 for me is a massive bonus. And look, the mentality won't change massively for Tuesday. It's not, again, I don't want this and we think we've arrived and we can just turn up. No, we have to do exactly the same again and work hard. And it is hard work, but being a footballer is.
When you said the other night about players going off script, do entertaining games like this unfortunately go a little bit off script as well?
Well, yeah, football's ever changing, isn't it? It's never the same. So you can set up a certain way or expect certain things from their team or your players, and naturally performances go up and down. Team shapes change all the time, whether they're having a good day or a bad day. So, but that's why we love it, right? So it was miles better. There's obviously bits that need to be better. That's football as well. But overall, like I say, it's a results business, and we got that one today.
Okay, thank you to Appearance Radio, Dave England, for that interview with Banbury manager Dave Langmead, and to the Banbury United ground staff again for getting that game on. But sadly, Patrick, Thame United did struggle in vain to get their game on. That was called off. And also, we have to say that Ardley's game, that was called off too. They showed pictures on their Twitter feed of a very heavily waterlogged pitch in a quagmire. Ardley, of course, top of the table, but I think other postponements and results going their way meant that they still were top table, not having kicked a ball on Saturday. But can you actually see if you can find some other results for us to see what else was happening in spite of the weather last weekend around Oxfordshire, Patrick?
It wasn't completely, we didn't completely get away with the rain. There was a few games off. And like you say, Ardley still 4 points clear at the top, and they've still got a few games in hand as well. So still looking very healthy for them there. Wallingford and Crowmarsh are on their tail, though. They're still in the playoff positions, and they picked up another win on Saturday, 2-1 over Hollyport. They were 2-0 up. Harry Bonner scoring off just 4 minutes, and then James Williams got a second in the second half. As so often at 2-0, though, the Hollyport got one back with about 15 minutes to play. So perhaps a little bit nervy towards the end of the game there, but Wallingford able to hold on, which takes them up to 4th place. So they're having a really good season as well as Ardley. That would be really good if they get a few Oxfordshire teams up into the promotion/playoff places in that league, and maybe a couple more sides back into step 4 next year, because that would be brilliant for Oxfordshire football. Abingdon United, they kept up a good recent form. They beat Amersham Town 2-0 at the North Court. Freddie Dunham and Joshua Jones scored the Abingdon goals there. They remained 13th in the division. Well, there were defeats, sadly, for Milton United. They lost 3-1 to Hilltop, and Northley were also beaten on the road as they were beaten 2-0 at one of the teams I've always intrigued by the name. It's Ashford Town, and then it brackets Middlesex, which has always intrigued me as to why that's so. I mean, I'm presuming it's because there's more than one Ashford Town and they're differentiating each other. But it's always made me chuckle a little bit when I see brackets Middlesex for that.
Well, I think it's an Ashford in Kent, I think, as well. There you go. So just to show a bit of geography there.
So yeah, but sadly they lost there. So but they're still out of the relegation zone as it stands. Yeah, not too bad in the combined counties. It's only Ardley's game that was off. So pretty much all the games there. Eastern Sports game at Daventry Town did succumb to the Friday rain. So no game for them there. Hellenic Division 1, that was also fairly affected. It was only Wantage Town who played on the weekend. They beat Chipping Sodbury 3-0, so another good result for them. They're in good form in recent weeks as well. Matthew Cheetham opened the scoring for them after 11 minutes. Owain Wheeler, added a second just before half-time. And then Biago Mizotta with a third in the second half, so another convincing win there. On Sunday, Oxford United, they were in league action, and they were beaten 1-0 at home to Plymouth Argyle and Women's National League South, a team that they played in the National League Cup the week before away from home. For Abingdon United and Oxford City, though, they were in County Cup action this week. Abingdon United in Berks and Bucks Women's Cup action, and they progressed against Wycombe Wanderers, the game finishing 1-1, and Abingdon won 7-6 on penalties there. So a long penalty shootout there. Oxford City, however, they won as well, but slightly more convincingly. They beat Launton Sports 3-0 to progress to the Oxfordshire Senior Cup semi-final. Ellie White gave City the lead after 5 minutes, and Lucy White made it 2 after just 12 minutes. No goals for the next 70 minutes, though, but just before the end, Kate Parsons scored to make it a convincing 3-0 win and see Oxford City through to another semi-final in that competition.
Well, thanks a lot, Patrick. Now it's time for Fixture Focus, and we're going from sublime to ridiculous because last weekend was all about the torrential rain. This weekend may well be all about frozen pitches. The Ashes is on. Please don't tell me you're going to go to Australia to watch the cricket instead of watching football, because let's face it, mate, Oxford City need the points. But tell us what football fans have to look forward to if they've got warm coats that can cuddle up and watch some decent football in Oxford this coming weekend, Patrick.
Well, Oxford City might be safe if I went to the Ashes, and my record of City winning when I'm away keeps up. But obviously Oxford United were without a game last weekend. They had an international break, but they're back in action this weekend as Middlesbrough travelling down to the Kassam Stadium in the Championship, a 3 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. However, that's pretty much about the only game on in Oxfordshire this weekend. Everyone else on the road. Oxford City, I mean, they've been very used to home comforts in recent weeks. They've had 5 consecutive Saturdays in a row. But it ends this weekend and they travel up to Marine in National League North. Banbury United, they have a slightly shorter journey. They just travel up to Birmingham to face Alvechurch in Southern League Premier Central. Thame United, they travel to Rayners Lane in Southern League Division 1 Central. While Didcot Town, and we seem to say this every other week when they're away from home, they've got another long trip to Exmouth Town in Division 1 South. So yes, a lot of miles being covered by our men's teams on Saturday. On Sunday, and it's another big weekend of football, and it's FA Cup, Women's FA Cup weekend. And it's actually a really big double header at Court Place Farm, with both Oxford United and Oxford City playing their FA Cup games one after the other. Oxford United, they're first up, and they host Luton Town in the midday kickoff. And then it's an Oxford versus Swindon derby, Colin, at 3 p.m. in the same competition. And I mean, obviously, I know that the Swindon derby is mainly with Oxford City's friends down the road at Oxford United, but obviously, sure there'll still be a lot of interest from both sides of the ring road, and obviously Oxford United fans, I'm sure, will want City to do a job over them. So that's at 3 o'clock. Yeah, it would be a huge upset though if City did beat them, as City are a level below Swindon Town. Yeah, City did warm up with a 3-0 win on Sunday, but probably slightly ominously, Swindon Town had a county cup game against Corsham Town, and Swindon Town came out 19-0 winners on Sunday.
19-0. So even better than Town.
Yeah, so they absolutely know where the net is, I think, after Sunday. So yeah, I think City will be up for a challenge, but I'm sure it'll be one that Leon Theohorus will be up for, and obviously we'll be hearing from him. If you're listening to the podcast, it will be in the live show on Thursday night. If you're watching the live show, and I won't make the same mistake as I did last time we did this, it's either been in the show previously or it's coming up later.
Okay. Well, either way, that's it from us for another week. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you to Patrick Locke, and we'll be back with another review in the coming weeks. Thanks so much. Bye for now.